So, good morning to all. Now we will move on to session 4 of Module 3 Material Science. In the previous session, we have discussed some of the heat treatment process. In continuation with that, let us move on to some other type of heat treatment process. And the second heat treatment process is normalizing. So first we have discussed annealing and various types of annealings. So what happens in the case of annealing? Because of very slow cooling, the material will become very soft, and to some applications, it will become not recommended. So because of very high softness or ductility, and at that case, we will go for a treatment called as normalizing or air quenching treatment. And here you can see that both hypo and hypereutectoid steels are heated above the upper critical temperature. Upper critical temperature. Normalizing a process of heating steel above 40 to 50 degrees centigrade above upper critical temperature, holding it for proper time, and then cooling in still air or slightly agitated air to room temperature. After normalizing, the resultant microstructure would be pure light. Since the temperature involved in this process is more than that of the annealing, the homogeneity of austenite increases, and it results in better dispersion of ferrite and cementite in the final structure. Casting suffering from the chemical inhomogeneity can be removed by normalizing it. So that means here here the main advantage is that whatever the temperature that we adapt in the case of normalizing, it is more than the annealing, and then cooling rate is somewhat faster than the annealing. These two things makes the metal superior compared to the annealing process. Normalizing steels are generally stronger and harder than the fully analyzed steels. The machinability of the steels shows an improvement on normalizing. Steels are soft in annealing condition and tends to stick during the machining operations. By normalizing, an optimum combination of strength and softness is achieved. So this is what things happens in the case of normalizing, and the when we compare the normalizing and annealing, everything is same. The two different things are, in the case of normalizing, the heating temperature is quite high, and then cooling rate is also high, which improves the properties of normalized material then annealing treatment. Next, coming to the very important heat treatment is hardening. Hardening is the process in which hardness of the steel is increased to make the material suitable for various applications. So hardness is a process where the hardness is increased, and we will see how the hardness will be increased. If the steel is if the steel is cooled quickly, quenched by immersing it in oil or water, the carbon atoms are trapped and results in the a very hard and brittle steel. This crystal structure is now a body-centered tetragonal form called martensite. Actually, what happens? We know that the steel crystal structure will be BCC at room temperature, and at higher temperatures around 900 degree and above, it will converts into FCC. When the metal is having FCC structure, the solubility of carbon will be more compared to the structure when it is got BCC. So the metal which is having a good content of carbon, good content of carbon is heated to a FCC structure, and then if you dip suddenly into the water, what happens? The crystal structure changes to BCC. So in the BCC, when the structure is BCC, what happens? The solubility of carbon decreases, and which results in the formation of supersaturated carbon, and the carbon will not find any time to accommodate within the interstitial space. In that case, what happens? It will deform the structure. Actually, the structure which is BCC, and because of this deformation, the structure will be elongated and results in what is called as body-centered tetragonal, and this is called as a martensite, which is very hard in nature. So this is what happens in the case of hardening. Hardening treatment consists of heating to a hardening temperature, holding it at that temperature, followed by rapid cooling such as quenching in air, oil, or salt. During this process, austenite is formed into martensite, which is the hardest micro constituent of the steel. So this is what I have said. So this shows the component is heated, and then it is dipping into a what you call cold water. Cold water. Coming to the phase diagram of this hardening, we can observe that the hypoeutectoid steels are heated above upper critical temperature, and whereas the hypereutectoid steels are heated just above the lower critical temperature. And the reason is that here we will go into the first requirement in the hardening is that before dipping the material into the cooling media, the phase present should be austenite. In the case of hypoeutectoid steels, so the alpha austenite, alpha ferrite will converted into austenite only above this temperature, above this upper critical temperature, and you can observe that this temperature also varies depending upon the carbon content. If the carbon content is let us say 2, and that this temperature is this, and if the carbon content is 6, and this is the temperature above which we have to heat the material, so that the alpha ferrite is converted to austenite. That is why we will heat the material above upper critical temperature in the case of hyper eutectoid steels. Coming to this is hypo and this is hyper. Coming to the hyper eutectoid steels, so ferrite, the iron carbide is also a very hard intermetallic compound, and the presence of this will not alter the hardness, so that the presence of iron carbide is recommended in the along with the martensite. So here only perlite will change into austenite, and that is possible above the lower critical temperature, and the iron carbide can be remain as it is, can be remains as it is, and no doubt that if we heat both, this is also converted to austenite, which is not required, and in the case of hypereutectoid steels, we will heat only just above the lower critical temperature, and ensures that there is no presence of pure light, and the presence of the phase present should be arsenate and iron carbide are cemented before dipping into the water or before quenching. So this is what the things involved in the case of hardening. Let us come to the cooling requirement in the hardening process. So this is what the triple T diagram, temperature transformation diagram, and this is the nose. And this particular temperature, this particular cooling rate which touches the nose is called as a rate, critical cooling rate. And the cooling rates are towards the left from the nose is a cooling rate higher than the critical cooling rates, and these cooling rates which are towards the right of the nose is cooling rates which are having lower cooling rates compared to the critical cooling rate. So let us take this as per the sketch we have at four different types of cooling rates, and this is the lowest type of cooling rate. And then in this case the structure obtained will be a fine perlite, and the next cooling rate we will going to obtain perlite and then martensite. And in the critical cooling rate, the for the critical cooling rate the structure developed will be the completely martensite. And if the cooling rate, if the cooling rate is more than the critical cooling rate, then also we will going to get the martensite. That means in the case of hardening, in the case of hardening, depending upon the composition of the material, we have to ensure that the cooling rate should be more than the critical cooling rate. Then only it is possible for us to obtain the complete martensite structure. If the cooling rate decreases, and then we are going to find microstructure micro phase, which also consists of perlite along with the martensite, and which decreases the hardness of the material. And here you can see how the hardness varies along the diameter of the specimen. So this is the specimen, and this is the distance or diameter, and it is quenched for hardening, and at various points along the diameter they have measured the hardness or formation of martensite. You can observe here. So this is the outer surface of the specimen, this and this, and you can see here harness is 100% harness, that is 100% martensite. And as we move into the inside material, the hardness goes on decreases, and at the center of the specimen the hardness will be lowest, and this point indicates 50% of the hardness. So that means even though, or in spite of having completely austenite structure, when you dip the hard material into the quenching media, what happens? The material which makes direct contact with the water, water is subjected to faster cooling rate and results in a better martensite formation. And as we move inside the material, the cooling rate decreases, and hence the formation of the martensite decreases, and which results in the lesser hardness. So this is how the hardness varies. And then the other aspect of the hardness is hardenability. Hardness and hardenability. Hardness is the property of the material. Hardenability is the ability of the material to undergo hardness. Hardness of the material is defined as resistance to plastic deformation, right? Hardenability of the material is the ability to get hardened as result of hardening heat treatment. So if the metal will have a better hardenability, what happens? It can get better hardening values. A steel that has high hardenability is one that hardens or forms martensite not only at the surface but throughout the interior. If I said that the material has got 100% hardenability, then what happens? And what happens? So here, whatever we have seen, so the decrease in hardness will not be much. will not be much. The hardenability is a measure of depth to which a specified alloy may be hardened upon quenching. So upon quenching, that means if the hardenability is more, what happens? The hardness at a higher depth will also be more. So hardenability depends on the following things. One is the composition. Composition is mainly with the carbon content and and along with the some alloying elements. And then if the carbon content is more, ability to undergo hardness is also more. And quenching media or method of quenching. So here that this decides the rate of cooling. If the rate of cooling is faster, generally it supports the formation of martensite. And the thickness of the steel. So lower the thickness, better will be the hardness. Higher the thickness, lesser will be the hardness. Why? Because as we seen in the previous slide, so if the material diameter is more, then what happens at the center of the material, the cooling rate will be significantly less, and which results in the lesser hardness compared to the surface of the material. And then here we have got a test procedure. By this test, it is possible to measure the ability or hardenability of the material, and the name of the test is Gemini end quench test. So in this test, what we will going to do, we will going to determine the hardenability of the material, and the procedure is that, a specimen of approximately 1 inch diameter and length 100 mm, that is 4 inch long, is austinated at a prescribed temperature for a specified time. So that means the metal is heated, and we will ensure that the entire phase available is austenite. After removal from the furnace, it is quickly mounted in a fixture as shown in the figure. So once the metal is heated, immediately it is mounted onto the fixture. At the lower end, at the lower end is quenched by a jet of water of a specified flow rate and temperature. Thus, the cooling rate is maximum at the quenched end and diminishes with the position from this point along the length of the specimen. That means as we move away from the quenching end, what happens? The cooling rate decreases. These are the things involved. So this is the specimen of diameter 1 inch, and then the length is 4 inches, or approximately 100 mm. And after that means after heated in the furnace, and it is mounted immediately to the mounting fixture, and from the one end a jet of water is made to fall on the made to impinge on the free end of the specimen. And as he said, the distance as well as the temperature of the water, here it is 24 degrees centigrade, is all fixed. And then once the experiment is over for about some time, and then the component is removed and dipped into the cold water, so that further transformation is avoided. Once this is over, then they will going to cut the pieces of long bar from this component, and they are subjected to the hardness test. And the procedure is somewhat like this. After the piece has been cooled to a room temperature, a shallow flat of 0. 0.4 mm depth are ground along the specimen length, and Rockwell hardness measurements are made for the first 50 mm along each flat. So this is what it says, that how the hardness will be measured at what distances. He says here. And once the hardness is measured, the curve is prepared like this. So here here it is a zero distance. That means it is a quenching end, and this is the distance away from the quenching end. and you can observe that these are the variation of hardness along the length of the specimen. And here at the quench end at x is equal to 0, the hardness, Rockwell hardness HRC is maximum, and as we move away from this quench end, what happens? The hardness values decreases, and the reason that I have explained, because of the because the cooling, as we move along the length of the specimen, the cooling rate will be decreased. The cooling rate will be decreased, and which results in the lower hardness. And next we'll move on to other heat treatment process called as tempering. So this tempering is always followed by the hardening. What happens in the case of hardening? Hardening heat treatment develops the extremely hardness in steel, but reduces the toughness. So there is a danger that if the hardness is very more and brittleness also increases, in some of the cases it may not be suitable. So they become very brittle and unsuitable to be used in most of the service conditions. A secondary heat treatment called tempering is imported to the material before they can put into the service. The tempering consists of further heat treating the hardened steel to various subcritical temperature and then cooling at room temperature. Room temperature. So that means this is a subsequent heat treatment process followed by the hardening. As per this statement, it is very clear that the highly hardened materials cannot be used directly, and tempering is must to increase the safety of the component or the material. And this is what the phase diagram for the tempering. And you can see here both hypo and hypereutectoid steels are heated just below the lower critical temperature. That is what critical temperatures. And then we know that this treatment is should be followed by the hardening. The phase developed in the hardening is martensite. And what happens to this martensite phase when it is subjected to the tempering means, you can see here. So martensite phase is the phase developed after the hardening, and when it is subject to the tempering, what happens? The martensite is decomposed or transformed into fearlite and cementite. Fearlite and cementite. So that what happens when the fearlite is comes into picture, so that the hardness decreases, decreases to some extent. And heat below eutectoid temperature, weight and slow cooling. The microstructure changes which take place during the tempering are very complex. The time temperature cycle chosen to optimize the strength and toughness. So and then these are the procedure what happens during the hardening. And let us say a tool steel is hardened by quenching, and we're going to get the RC value. Rockwell hardness is around 65, and when we subject that material to tempering, the hardness value decreases somewhere between 45 to 55. So this is what very important. This is what very important. Otherwise, what happens? The material will fail. And here we have got two important tempering methods. One is as tempering, and the other one is smart tempering. Let us take let us have a look at the diagram of the as tempering, and you can see that the cooling rate, and it shows that this is the core, that means center, and this is the surface. This is the cooling rate, and since the cooling rate is within the nose, hence the cooling rate is faster than the critical cooling rate, and it ensures the martensite. But what happens in the case of as tempering? We will going to soak, or we will going to soak the material at a temperature which is above ms, ms for about very long time depending upon the size of the component, and we will ensure that benite phase is formed. Benite phase is formed, and then it is cooled and brought to the room temperature. That means austenite is the tempering process which ensures 100% of benite benite. So that's what it says. It is used to get 100% benite in the microstructure. 100% benite structure is less harder than the fully martensite structure. To avoid residual stresses generated during the quenching, arsenate seal is quenched above ms, held long enough for transformation of benite. And the other type, as I said, the mar tempering, you can look at here. Here also the cooling rate is more than the critical cooling rate. Why? Because these lines are away from the critical cooling rate. As I said, if the cooling rate is from the nose, it is towards the right. What happens? The cooling rate is less than the critical cooling rate. If the cooling rate is towards the left, then the cooling rate is more than the critical cooling rate. And you can see, observe here. So it says that this is the center and this is the surface. That means there is a variation of cooling rate from the center of the specimen to the surface, extreme surfaces. And then you can look at here the cooling, the what do you call, the cooling enters into martensite start, and then it also crosses martensite finish, and here they will held, so that whatever the phase developed here, it is completely 100% martensite. So that if you want to stop here, you can stop here, or if you want to do tempering, once again it is heated, and then it is held here for some time, and then it is cooled. So in the case of martensite, 100% of 100% of in the case of mar tempering, in the case of mar tempering, 100% of martensite is developed. Mar tempering is a treatment for steels involving austenization followed by step quenching at a rate faster enough to avoid formation of ferrite, perlite, and benite. It results in complete formation of martensite. So this formation of ferrite and perlite will be, or benite will be avoided if you, depending upon the cooling rate. If the cooling rate is slow, then this ferrite and perlite comes into picture. And then, so this is the tabular column showing the recommended temperatures for the various components. For example, lathe tools, drills and mills. It says that 240 degree, and then the type of color that they developed during the heat treatment process. And with this, we will move on to some of the MCQs. Here, after normalizing, the resultant microstructure would be what? After normalizing, so the resultant microstructure would be perlite. As tempering ensures dash percent of 100% of dash as tempering, that is benite. And then after hardening, the resultant microstructure would be perlite, martensite, austenite, delta iron. So since the process is hardening and the phase is martensite. Mar tempering ensures dash percentage 100% of dash phase. Here is also once again the martensite, and the answers I have given here. So with this, I have completed the session 4 of the module 3, and thank you very much.